we are just 2 months away from the U.S. election, and the two candidates are taking two clear paths when it comes to dealing with North Korea and handling the regime's leader, Kim Jong-un. For more, we are joined by Professor Joel Atkinson this morning. Welcome back, Professor.
Thank you. It's nice to be with you.
So, Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump said last Friday, that getting along with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is a good thing. Why boast of ties with Kim Jong-un now?
Well, it's certainly not out of character for former President Trump. He's said similar things before. It's hard to know, of course, what's going on inside his head, but my sense is this started with trying to outdo Obama. When Obama was leaving office, he basically told Trump that North Korea would be a huge problem. So Trump was boasting about how rather than being a problem, Kim Jong-un was writing him beautiful letters. Now the Democrats are attacking him for it, and his response is to double down on how right he was. Who knows what effect this has on voters, but this approach to criticism has certainly worked for him in the past.
Right, and what's notable is that Trump's Democratic rival, Kamala Harris, on the other hand, now she's made clear that she won't, quote, cozy up to dictators like Kim Jong-un. Now, what does that mean, cozying up with dictators like him?
Yes, well, the Harris side hopes to portray Trump as not representing core American values of democracy and human rights, to convey to voters that electing him again would not only harm America's standing in the world, but also its security. And her statement also signals that she will continue Biden's approach. The Biden administration stated that it's willing to talk with North Korea without preconditions, but it has also refused to make upfront concessions, such as halting military exercises or condemnations of North Korea's human rights abuses. Presumably, Harris's plan is to do more of the same.
Well, but both the Republican and Democratic parties are yet to draw, specific outlines for North Korea's denuclearization. To be more specific, the word CVID is yet to be mentioned. Now, why should we expect it coming soon?
Well, I think North Korea and its nuclear weapons have become much less of a priority in Washington. That's not to say it isn't seen as a threat or that steps are not being taken to counteract it. But it's not an issue that the highest level officials and potential officials on both sides think is worth spending their time and energy on. Not only has there been no real progress on it for decades, but there's now what they see as more pressing security issues like Russia and Ukraine, Israel, and above all China that need to be actively managed.
Well, soon it's not just a leadership change over in the U.S. There's going to be one over in Japan as well. And there are concerns that the trilateral cooperation between Seoul, Washington, and Tokyo, may not stay as strong as it's been. Could that be the case?
Well, I expect that if Harris is elected, she will continue Biden's approach, as I mentioned. Probably the next Japanese prime minister will continue in the same manner as Kishida. That would mean that trilateral cooperation will continue to strengthen at the leadership level, but not much will be done to effectively bring the Korean public along with the process. So the wild card, of course, is Trump. The trilateral cooperation doesn't fit with his approach to foreign policy. What's more, since Biden boasts about it, Trump will be even less enthusiastic about it. But, having said that, the logic for it is so strong, given the increasing pressure from China and North Korea and even Russia, that I wouldn't be surprised if it continues to strengthen, even if Trump wins in November, and even if the Japanese side doesn't work harder to win over the South Korean public.
Well, before I let you go, Professor Atkinson, is there anything that South Korea should be mindful of ahead of the leadership changes in the two countries, Tokyo and Washington?
Well, as I mentioned, it's no secret that President Yoon's outreach to Japan has not been that popular in South Korea. At least some of that is due to the Japanese side not moving further and faster to resolve history issues and so on. This might shift somewhat if Ishiba Shigeru becomes prime minister. He's talked about the need for that, but it doesn't seem likely that he will be chosen. In terms of the US, Harris has some energy behind her. She's ahead in the polls, but the US Electoral College favors Republicans over the popular vote somewhat. So I guess the thing South Korea needs to be mindful of is that this election, which is going to be very consequential, is still very much a toss-up. It could still go either way. So it still very much requires careful preparation and attention.
Professor Atkinson, thank you so much for your time and your insight this morning. We appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.